No problem. So we always just start off by asking, what's your sort of story been like with music? How have you ended up where you are now?
All right. So it's kind of independently, but also connected, obviously. I mean, I started playing music when I was around 16. It was a super depressed period for me. And some friends of mine invited me to play, like to sing in their band. And that was like the first time that I was involved in music. And it kind of saved my life because at that time I was super, super, super depressed and in a completely destructive mode. So that gave me, like the inspiration to, just continue living, to be honest. I went to the UK to study music, and then I got a bachelor degree in sound engineering. And then I created my band back in 2003. And we played together like for many years. And then at some point around 2015, the band, broke up and took completely different directions. And that was like my pause with music, to be honest, that in a way still haven't restarted. Actually, like last month, I started playing the piano again.
Yeah.
So like the coaching part came a few years back. I decided to get into the coaching space. I wasn't 100% sure at the time, that I'm going to select working with artists, to be honest. But then, when it was like the time for me to select a niche, it was like down to two different options. Another option was to work with people who wanted to overcome like toxic relationships. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty obvious that I would pick artists. I mean, I can really understand how they feel. I can understand their struggles. And I mean, from whatever success has happened to me, and also like my fuck ups,
Yeah.
it's so easy for me, to feel extremely connected with them. And I really enjoy working with them. So that was a wise choice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Working
mean,
with artists.
that makes sense because like you know what they're going through. So if you're gonna work with them, you know their problems and like what their pain points are, so you can help them. Um, the thing with artists is like it's so difficult to go from a point of just starting out to. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, you kind of get freeze in the middle, but I hear you.
okay. So the issue is obviously from going a point to just starting to taking it more seriously to then making money off it. From like, what are the biggest ways that you see artists like monetizing their music? Like if you're just starting off as an artist and you want to be, okay, right, I want to start making money off this. Like, what do you do?
Well, look, first of all, it really depends from what you really want to do. Okay. And this is something that I always, advise and guide my clients also do. I can give you so many different options, but at the end of the day, if you don't select an option that you also feel passionate and inspired, it's not going to work out. I mean, there are many different ways of making a very successful living through music, but it all goes down to what you like doing. But at the same time, you need, to combine what you love doing with something that you can monetize from. Because some artists are like, have a too vague idea, like, okay, I'm gonna release my album on Spotify and I'm gonna make money. And like, I've never met anyone so far. I mean, from when we're talking about starting artists, really monetizing from Spotify, I don't know if you have. Most of them are going for paying ads. which at the end of the day, if you like calculate 0.006, which is pretty much what Spotify offers for one listen, into money paid for ads, you know, you end up having zero, or you are even like spending more than you are actually making. So this is a myth that I'm always like, you know, to address it and explain that, you know, it's not the most effective way, at least, to make money. So to answer your question more specifically, it goes down, you know, to what you really want to do. I mean, I'm currently working with songwriters and producers, and I'm helping them monetizing through their audience directly. So find what is that audience that needs, you know, their work or their service or their product. But again, it depends, you know, of what is it that they're feeling passionate about. Is it like producing for other people? Is it making songs and, you know, find filmmakers or companies that need their music? You know, it all goes down to what you really enjoy doing as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. So for listening to this, it's mainly like rappers, independent rappers. What do you think the best things, just in general, that they could be thinking about that might help them financially?
For people who are only rappers, no,
yeah.
They're not producing or anything.
It's mainly rappers.
I mean, yeah, the truth is that right now, the big difficulty is that people cannot really perform live, because I believe that for any performing artist, the quickest way to monetize is through their live performances. So that's a big obstacle that is happening, because at the end of the day, think about that. You are in the live performance. People start searching your music after your show if they like it enough, you know, so they go to Spotify. So it's a very direct and free advertisement. And then, you know, while you're in the show, you have the opportunity to connect with your audience and say, you know, my merchandise is over there. Make like a cool offer for them, you know, to engage with your stuff. I mean, I remember myself when I was performing, I was like, almost at the end of the performances, I was like, okay, yeah, the merchandise over there. Well, this is not the way to actually sell your merchandise. So at the end of the day, that can be a great way, like make a cool design of any merchandise, make it sellable, create some offers, you know, find some creative ways to go about that. And this way you can make like an extra income while you're performing. Yeah. But, you know, keep repeating it to the audience, give them like a lot of opportunities to actually remember that your stuff is over there, instead of just, you know, carrying around your merchandise, putting it in a corner and waiting and hoping for people, you know, to get interested. But you know, for any rapper, I mean, I believe that the best way to go is by performing.
Going what you said about creating like an offer for merchandise, does that just mean like having good merchandise, or are you doing anything else there?
Yeah, the product is always important, because if you have a crappy product, you know, advertisement won't help you. But when I say about offer, I mean, if you connect with your audience, for example, give them some motive, you know, to go about it. Maybe like give them the option to buy something, get a photograph, and then perhaps win another one, you know, like another product that you have. Or, you know, say, for example, tonight I'm offering 2 in the price of 1. And this way, you know, you can find like the best looking person in the room and give them a present or something. So like be creative about it and create some interaction. At the end of the day, this is something super important, especially when you are performing live, like to get into interactive with your audience. And I used to do that mistake myself in the past. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm a musician, so I should just do my job. Well, it all goes down to your branding. And if you want to be this person, who is on stage and don't communicating anything, there is a price to pay, of course, but you can do that as long as you are 100% conscious with your branding. And this is another thing, that I believe that it's super important. Instead of like creating like a random brand that, goes around your logo, which is like the last thing that you should be considerate of, like really be conscious about what is your branding and what is your message. Because at the end of the day, this is really going to make you stand out from everyone else who is doing pretty much the same as you.
Mm-hmm. Most people know how important branding is because everyone talks about it, but like what actually is a brand of an artist to you? Like what do you define that as, and how do you build that?
Well, in one word, that would be the message. But that's again, like a process that I'm going through with my clients, to sort it out, because it's not one thing. It goes down to you, who you are, like what is your story, what is the message that you want to create, and always this is in accordance with your audience. Because, for example, if you want to. Let's say that we have this conversation, okay? This might be extremely interesting for others, but if a plumber sees this, might not be interested. So it all goes down to your audience, and those two things are connected. If you are able to connect your brand with the right audience, then you create the magic, because then it's all about exchange, and that's the beauty of it. At the end of the day, a musician without an audience is just lonely. And the audience also is looking for that musician, because we need music, but it's always about the right audience.
Mm-hmm. How do you find that audience then? Like, where do you go to find them? Just on Instagram? Like, what apps, what sort of things are you doing?
Social media. I mean, this is the best time for people to find their audience through social media. Like I heavily focus on Instagram and Facebook, but at the end of the day, pick any platform and just focus on that platform. If you are all over the place, then your results are going to be all over the place. And this is another mistake that I see a lot, like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and at the end of the day, nothing. So, I mean, Instagram is definitely a platform to focus, because it gives you the opportunity to not only find your audience, but also to connect with that audience. For example, on YouTube, you don't have the opportunity to speak with your audience, like only in comments, but that doesn't really create like a closer relationship at the end of the day. But on Instagram, like you have the visual part of it, and the ability, to present yourself in so many, like you can upload photographs, you can upload music, you can upload videos, you can upload whatever you like. And at the same time, you have the opportunity, to really get to know who is your audience. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, if you don't know who is your audience, start communicating with them, because, it's all about creating your tribe at the end of the day. Like create the universe, the space that it's going to be interested enough for people to come join you.
Yeah.
And enter your world. Mm-hmm. and exchange, because it's all about exchange. People, we are all seeking connection with each other.
Yeah.
This is what we want at the end of the day. We're seeking connection. So if an artist is able to create that connection, then this artist artist has an audience, and it has a loyal audience, instead of just, like buying followers, that won't lead you anywhere at the end of the day. Like having a big account, looking cool, to who? I mean, have 100 people who are loyal enough, to buy everything that you have to offer. That will make a difference in your life and in their life at the end of the day, because they're going to be buying your shows, they're going to be listening to your music, they're going to be buying your albums, they're going to be buying your merchandise. So if you have like 100 true followers, is way better than having like 10,000 followers who are randomly being there, just to whatever, like your post or something.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, the number of followers, it really, like, you should not give a shit about that, but the number of fans you should really give a shit about. So say rappers are listening, they've decided, okay, like, I'm going to build the brand on Instagram. What sort of things do you think they should be posting to help, like, build the tribe?
Again, it goes down to their branding, because there isn't like a rapper's branding.
Yeah.
Branding is what will separate one rapper from another. Otherwise, you're a rapper. So in order for you to be something unique, you need to realize your uniqueness and communicate that uniqueness. What is the thing that makes you special? And, like the biggest mistake is that musicians and rappers are focusing on the product. They are focusing on the music. But the music is just a part of the branding. And sometimes it's not even the most important part of the branding. So, yeah, I mean, do the creative part. And of course, the music is important, like the quality is important and all that. But at the same time, as much time as you invest, into your music, you need to invest into the other part of it as well. And then it's going to be effective. So there isn't like one thing that you need to post. You need to always post in accordance with your branding and with your audience. At the end of the day, not every rapper has the same audience. Is that right?
Yeah, 100% true. What sort of examples of people posting though, like, have you seen that have worked? Like, for instance, like I saw someone, they do these really like high quality freestyle videos or videos of them singing, and like as a viewer,
I lost you like Han.
Can you hear me again?
You froze. Yeah, you came back. Okay.
What sort of, have you got any like examples of things that people could be posting to help though? Because like, if you're listening, it might be quite confusing to think like what like just any sort of examples that people post which might help them.
I mean, again, like I told you. All right, I'm going to tell you an example. I was working with a rapper, okay, and once he figured out his branding, yep, and he figured out his audience, he started having ideas about what to post, because yeah, that's the steps. Like first is the branding, then is the audience, and then you start thinking about your content. Then you're 100% on top of it and conscious about it, instead of randomly posting just for posting. Okay, yeah, posting a lot might help the algorithm, but on the other hand, if your audience is not interested, then it's a waste of time. So, for example, this person came up with this idea, and it's all about actually brainstorming. If you figure the branding and you figure out the audience, then the what to post part is going to happen, because the only thing that you need to do is just, brainstorm on ideas that are based on who you are and who is your audience. But to give you an example, he had like this idea to be posting about he being on on weed or something, like communicating about this part. I mean, if I start posting things about weed, it's going to be completely irrelevant probably with my audience. So it doesn't come down to if you're a rapper, post about weed. I mean, you need to understand if that is part of your brand. And another example is that this particular client, for example, he thought about getting sponsors that were offering like weed products. And again, that was another brand that he felt related to begin with. So it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go for a sponsorship just, to get a sponsor, but a sponsor that I can relate to and feel, comfortable about really advertise with them. So this is just an idea, but again, it goes down to who you are as a person, as an artist. What is your mission? What is your story? I mean, these are key things that you need to ask yourself. And then who is your audience? Mm-hmm. And who is the audience that you want to attract at the end of the day? Because if you are talking to everyone, you're talking to no one at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. You need to make a decision.
Yeah. Going back to sort of monetizing your audience, like at what point should you start to think about that? Because people listening, they might be scared of coming across as like too salesy and like asking for things from the people who support you. Like, how do you sort of find the balance as well between like giving and taking?
Yeah, that's just like a bad mindset, to be honest. Like, it's just a mindset that so many, musicians are believing and are carrying around these limiting beliefs, that you're going to be salesy. At the end of the day, marketing is all about giving and offering. Like, instead of jumping to people's messages and like spamming them with please like, please follow, please subscribe. I mean, sometimes I get these like messages and they ask me to do like 5 or 6 things. I'm like, okay, I have a lot of work to do. I mean, I find it funny at the very least. Like, this is the least efficient way of actually communicating and connecting with our audience, because you go there and you simply ask. Learn to give first. Offer value, offer value, offer value, and then ask. And if you do this from a place of offering your value and you simply ask in a way that is not needy or something, again, you ask by offering more value in reality, okay? Because, for example, let's say, that I'm a rapper, okay? So I'm posting valuable content, I'm offering value, and then at some point, I have like a cool t-shirt that I design and it's, ready to give it away to my audience. So again, I'm offering something. Yeah. But the thing is to learn to offer value first and then ask. And, when you ask, you might hear a no, and it's okay. So, yeah, I mean, it's being afraid to be salesy and, being afraid to ask is just a limiting belief.
Yeah. I actually speak to a lot of people like that because they're so like, which is good because they're so obsessed with giving to the audience. It's scary to ask like, oh, please go do this, because you think you're just undoing the work that you've just done of giving them everything, and then they're not going to trust you anymore. But yeah, you're right. Like, when it comes to it, you're giving because you're giving, but you also want to take at one point. So it doesn't help you from being scared, being like, I'm going to ask in a way that's not going to work.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're the type, think of this. If you are the type of person who is willing to give, then it's easy for you to ask as well. I mean, if you are the type of person who always goes just to ask somebody, I mean, imagine if I call you on the phone and every time I call you on the phone, I ask you for a favor. I mean, after a couple of times, like 3-4 times, when you see my name, you're going to say, oh my God, she wants something from me again. But if I'm like there and we have like a healthy relationship between us, and I offer, and I'm willing to offer to you. And then I call you at some point and I say, Lachlan, please, yeah, I need something from you now. You're probably going to say yes. And you're probably going to be happy about it because you know that this is a two-way relationship, not like just me asking things from you.
Yeah. Going back a bit about merch, that is a really good idea. How do you go about like making merch? Just from starting from the idea of like, okay, I'm going to do merch. Like, where do you go, and then like, do you put it on a website? What do you do with it?
I would start from whatever social media platform I'm currently in. I wouldn't go for a website. Why go for a website? I mean, you need to redirect people to your website. So do it where you have your audience and where you can find your audience for free. Why go somewhere else at the end of the day? Just do it there.
Mm-hmm.
Start from there. I don't believe that you even need a website, especially in the beginning, to be honest.
Yeah. What about, do you recommend people build emailing lists at all, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good idea to start building an email list, because this way, at the end of the day, yeah, social media is a great way to start, but by having an email list, you always have the control. Because, for example, maybe Instagram decides, to shut down your profile, or maybe, they get sold or something, like what had happened to MySpace, like many years back, not a few actually. So yeah, it's always a good idea. And I mean, the best way, for example, to start creating that email list is by offering something. Mm-hmm. Like I'm giving away one of my songs. Would you like it? Yes. Okay. Give me your email list. I mean, I did this experiment in one of my pages last year, and I got like 150 emails out of a 500 people account. Wow. I did it organically, just sending messages to people like, I have this for you. Would you like it? Yes, I would love it. Okay, send me your email. And I got 150 emails. Mm-hmm. So that's a very easy way, for you to do that. And at the end of the day, like every artist is a creative person. So start thinking creatively in business as well. I mean, it is important for us to learn the business, okay? It is important because they focus so much time, they focus so much energy. So if you don't have a business mind to begin with, learn about it, become good about it. Because if you can combine a business mind with your creative mind, the mind that you already have, you're going to find so many different ideas, to market yourself. You're going to be able to create strategies just from having the foundation of business and then your creative mind.
Yeah, I agree with that. And something that helped me was like not seeing business or marketing as just like a chore, and then the music's a good bit like really learn about marketing and try and enjoy it. Um, what sort of sources have you found that are good for learning business and marketing?
You mean free sources?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, only this last year I have invested around 20K. So, I mean, you can get a few ideas for free, but I don't believe that you can truly learn how to market yourself free. I don't believe in that. And I'm just saying, what I personally do for myself. I mean, I work with the best. I invest all the time in myself. I make money and I reinvest into further knowledge because this way I can create more value. But this is not something, that it only applies to me. It actually applies to every person who is serious about doing music professionally. So if you want to be a professional, you need to invest. And when I say invest, I don't say invest only in instruments and speakers and like things like that. Like truly learn to invest, to learn the business. Find somebody, that inspires you and that you believe it can give you that knowledge and work with them. I mean, I went to the university and I didn't learn these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a decision to go serious about, being a coach. I found mentors and I invested heavily in myself, and I'm still investing and reinvesting in myself. And if you meet any professional and successful professional, you're gonna notice that this is something that every serious professional and successful professional is doing. So actually think about that. Like when you go just for the free part, then the same mindset that you go for the free stuff, like let's find something cheap or super free, like to get everything. Then once you go to your audience and you ask them for something, you're going to go from this mindset, and you're going to go from the mindset that people go for the free stuff. Do you see the connection?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I do agree with that. I would say all the information is there on the internet. It's just a lot harder to find, and there's a lot of false information. So it's going to take you, you can do it for free and you can find everything. You'll just find a lot of wrong stuff as well, and it will just take you a lot longer. If you do decide, to get a coach, how do you know when you find the right coach, and how do you go about finding a coach?
Personally, usually I find the person, I follow and kind of see if I get inspired by this person, if I can get some inspiration from them, if I feel like I follow my instinct. I follow my instinct. And so far I've never worked with any coach that didn't help me. Every single person that I made the decision, to invest and work with helped me grow. And you're right in the part that you said, yes, the information is out there, but it's too much information. If a person tells you go this way, and then another person tells you go this way, and then another person goes this way, then you end up being in a paranoid mode, because you need to focus on one strategy, and you need to make sure that this strategy is something effective, because otherwise you'll start testing this strategy and you're going to get a few fails, and then you're going to say this one wasn't right, and then you're going to go to another strategy and you're going to do the same and the same and the same and the same, and it won't get you to any results, because you need one strategy until you get where you're seeking. You only need one strategy. Not like having too many options is going to burn you out. It's not going to help you. Because even when you find the right strategy, that doesn't mean that as soon as you start applying it, like everything is going to be going great. I mean, I personally struggle a lot from the moment, I officially, started my business to the moment I started having my first client. It took me like 4 or 5 months. And at that point, I was working all the time, not making anything, keep investing. Like, it was super difficult for me, but I knew that I was following a strategy that works. So I knew that the only thing that I had to do is just, be patient, stay on track, be committed, and show up every single day. So you are right. There is probably all the information out there, but you can not really be sure what is the information and the strategy that is going to specifically help you. Because even if you are like a strategy for rappers, 2 people are not the same. They are not having the same mindset. They don't have the same past. They don't have the same history. They don't have the same brand. They don't have the same audience necessarily. So it's difficult to find free stuff and be certain and sure that this is something that can truly work for you. And also, the other thing that you said is, again, super, super important, that it's going to take you so long. I mean, personally, I don't want to be wasting my time being stuck. Like, if I'm stuck, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to find some help, because I know that as soon as I find some help, I have an external eye observing, my patterns, and can give me feedback and can see through my blind spots that I'm now need more time in order to overcome. So this is why I'm saying, for example, have you ever met a professional athlete without a coach? I mean, this is not something common within musicians. I believe in the future years, it will probably gonna be, because we are not really used into having business coaches and all that. But it's always so much easier. And again, I'm not even implying that it should be me, at the end of the day. I mean, at the moment, for example, I'm more focusing on songwriters and producers, because with the pandemic, for example, performing live is quite difficult. So I know that results won't be able to come really quickly. Everyone is in a pause mode. So I'm focusing more on the people. Okay, I have a client, for example, who is not in a hurry, he just wants to wait, and he builds his brand and his audience. But at the moment, I'm working with songwriters and producers who are looking to monetize right here, right now.
Yeah. Believe it or not, that's been 40 minutes. So where should everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, I talk a lot.
No, it's good. That was really good.
Yeah. Where people can find me? Well, Instagram is Artistscoaching, like plural artists coaching, and same thing for Facebook as well.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.